Welcome back to Maynor Construction, where we're building your visions, creating reality. Before this house gets a brand new attached garage, we have a little problem. This deck is in the way. So yeah, before we start building a new garage, the existing deck has got to go. So, while we remove the deck, the crew is starting by laying out the dimensions of the new garage. These measurements will help determine exactly where the foundation will go and make sure that the new structure is being built according to the plans. And this is one of those parts of the construction that might not look very exciting at first. But trust me, you want these numbers to be right, because concrete has a very strict policy when it comes to changing your mind. It doesn't really do refunds. And also, for all our new followers, and just so everyone knows, I've only been working with the company for a couple of months, more like half a year. But I'm still learning. I'm definitely not a construction expert here. I'm just a girl behind the camera, trying to keep up with everyone and learn what's happening. So while I might not know every construction term just yet, I can tell you one thing. Everyone here seems to really like measuring things. Once the layout is confirmed, it is time to get the dirt moving. And this is where things finally start looking like something's actually happening, at least from my perspective. This excavation crew is removing soil from the garage footprint to prepare the area for the foundation. This part is important because the foundation needs a properly prepared base before we start building upward. After the excavation, the crew checks the area and prepares it for the foundation. The goal is to make sure everything is at the correct depth and properly prepared before the concrete arrives. Now, once the excavation is ready, the next step is preparing the reinforcement. Here you can see the crew placing rebar, which is short for reinforcement bar. Rebar is placed within the concrete to help reinforce the concrete to provide additional structural strength. And now it's time for the first concrete pour. The concrete is then poured into the prepared area while the crew works to spread and place it properly. The crew works across the area to level and finish the concrete, and this first pour gives us the beginning of the foundation. Now for the second pour, it will become the floor of the new attached garage. But before that concrete can go in, the crew has to build the forms around the area. These forms help define the concrete slab and will be placed to help keep everything where it belongs during the pour. Before the next materials go in, the crew works on getting the dirt inside the frame area as leveled and as prepared as possible. The things that look the least exciting on camera can still be really important to the finished product. But getting the area properly prepared is an important step before the next layer goes in. If the soil has high spots, low spots, or isn't properly prepared, it can make it harder to get the layers above it to a correct elevation to create a consistent base for the garage floor. Once the dirt is properly prepared, the crew brings in the gravel. Gravel helps create a stable, well-draining base underneath the garage floor and gives the concrete slab a properly prepared surface to be placed over. The crew spreads the gravel across the entire framed area and works to get it to the right level. This is where you can finally see the floor starting to build up layer by layer. Next, the crew adds the plastic layer over the prepared gravel. This layer is important because it acts as a vapor barrier beneath the concrete slab. It helps reduce the moisture from the soil below moving up to the slab. Once all these layers are prepared, we are finally ready for the second pour of concrete. And this pour is going to become the actual floor of the new attached garage. And just like that, we have reached the end of the foundation work of this stage of the garage. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to hear from you. We've seen the foundation go from empty space to the beginning of the garage floor. So if this was your garage, what would you put in it? Would you use it for your cars, a workshop, extra storage, a gym, maybe a place for boxes you've been promising yourself you're going to organize someday? Or maybe you'll have a completely different idea. Let me know down in the comments below. And that brings us to the end of this part of the garage build. So if you want to see this garage go from a concrete floor to actual finished structure, make sure to subscribe and follow along, because this is only the beginning. This is Maynor Construction, where we're building your visions, creating reality.